Hello, everyone. We are back. Feels like it has been a long time because it has been a long time. It's Canadian Bowler Show. I'm Mike Patulli, and I'm joined by my fabulous co-host Daryl Fitzgerald. How are you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing good, Mike. Yeah, it has been a long time. It really didn't seem that until we looked back and saw when we last streamed. Um, and unfortunately, a load of stuff has happened between then and now.
Yeah, I think we had a conversation a couple weekends ago about maybe doing one, and we were both just really busy over that weekend, and it didn't really work out. So we have a jam-packed show with lots of information to pass your way. Since you are here, please do hit the like, comment, subscribe button. We appreciate any sort of help we can get. So please do hit those buttons because it helps us immensely moving forward with the show. I'm not going to really. I guess I gotta pop. If you're not able to catch us live, we are on all major podcasting platforms within the week, so you can catch us usually within the week on the podcasting platforms, and we are on YouTube within the day. So obviously, you can check this out after the fact as well. So please do interact with the video any way we can. We appreciate any support we do get. So let's just jump right into it, Daryl, because we have so much stuff to cover. Do you want to start with Canadian stuff, or do we want to go global and talk about World Bowls? What do we want to do?
Why don't we talk about Canadians? It was before
Sure.
Worlds, so let's tackle that stuff first. How about that?
Yep. So seems like it was an eternity ago. The Canadian Championships did occur. So we did have the Canadians singles and then the team games. So if we start right into it, women's singles, see it right there. The winner was Claire Day from Alberta. So Claire ended up winning. Second place was also from Alberta, Jan Robinson. And oh, look at that, another Alberta. So Alberta clean swept the podium, Bev Robinson. So absolutely fantastic showing from Alberta and the ladies singles there. So all three medals going their way. It was pretty awesome to see. And specifically, Claire has been around a pretty long time, always kind of been around the podiums, always been in the singles and always playing pretty good. And it's great to see that she finally was able to win one. What were your thoughts, Daryl?
It was really cool to watch. And see the results pointing. I mean, I wouldn't have picked an Alberta sweep at the beginning of everything, but it's kind of cool to see those things happen every once in a while. So, kudos to Alberta, and it's nice to see the flower hat at the top of the podium.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see her and Cook Islands when they play each other, maybe at the champion
Right.
of champions in a year. So the two flower hats going head to head, but yeah, great to see the results there. I'm not gonna comment about my picks for the singles. We'll just glance past that and not talk about my ladies singles picks at all because they were atrocious. So Team Alberta stuck it to me 100%. We'll probably reference them a few times with the results here, but definitely was not what I saw happening. And you already said it there. Clean sweep is pretty awesome for them. If we move on to men's singles, the winner was Pat Bird. So Alberta won both of the golds. Fantastic job by both of them. So Pat Bird ended up winning. Second place was Dave Defoe from Ontario. And third place was Roy Riggy from Alberta. So 2 out of 3, 5 out of 6 medals from
Crazy.
Alberta. So Alberta was on a rampage in the singles there. So it was fantastic results for all of them. Dave Defoe also played very well all week, and it was good to see that he was able to get himself to the final. And he actually gave Pat a fairly good game in the final. So the little bit of streaming that Bulls Canada was able to do, we did get to see that game there. So what were your thoughts about the men's singles?
Good games. I mean, the field was really good and a good representation across Canada. Cool to see Pat win it again. We'll get to the champ stuff in a little bit, but he had a shot this year, and he'll get another shot going to champs. So, we'll get to see that bucket hat out on the greens internationally once again.
Yeah, no, very impressive to go back to back Canadian champion multiple years is an impressive thing to do, and well, we're not to spoil any results later on. He did very well in the other event as well. So once again, proved why he's one of the top players in Canada. So it was great to see Pat play to the quality that he has been in the last few years. So we can move on to the teams now. So the winner of the ladies pairs was Crystal Shepherd and Elizabeth Cormack from Ontario. So sort of moving on to the next one, I guess there we got Jean Roney and Karen Schlatter from Saskatchewan. So home province did pretty good there. And third spot was Josephine Lee and Serena Mack from BC. So the host province did pretty good there. If we're going to dwell on some of the picks we made, I was pretty darn happy with myself. Not going to toot my horn too much, but I perfectly predicted this podium, other than I had Alberta finishing third instead of BC. So pretty good. But we do have a review of the Canadian Championships and to talk about our predictions that Al and me made before Nationals. That should be coming out this week here. So look out for that if you want to see me skewer Alex and him kind of come at me maybe about my ladies singles picks. So it's pretty entertaining. I would check that out if you're able to later this week. But yeah, right on the nose. I was pretty happy to see that they were able to defend. What were your thoughts on the ladies pairs?
Personally, not surprised. I mean, Crystal and Elizabeth are two top tier players, women's players. They do it year after year, and they showed why they're sort of a class above everybody else. But it was a good mix in the field. There were some wins, some losses. The way everything kind of shook out, you weren't always sure that these three were going to be at the top, but they did. And good final games. So really, really good quality matches.
Yeah, if you're wanting to watch that final game, they do have that one on the live stream for Bulls Canada. So this is a good match if you want to go rewatch it. It's pretty much down to the last 10 there, where Ontario just plays protection, but it's a little bit of a back and forth match through the middle of the game. So we move on to the ladies fours. My mama got the job done. So Harriet Patuli from Saskatchewan ended up winning. Her vice, Rachel Larson, second Heather Howard, and lead Eileen McClellan. I always mess up the, or isn't that's not McClellan? Oh my gosh, it is Cam McClellan, Eileen. Anyways, they ended up winning. Sorry, I digress. I thought I didn't write down the names because I figured I would just remember it off the top of my head. But anyways, they ended up winning. It was quite a good week for them. Eileen actually ended up in the hospital the first day, so they had a sub for the first day, and it was a little bit of a hectic week for them, but they got the job done. So congratulations to the ladies for Saskatchewan A. Second place, they ended up playing in the final, was Team Manitoba A. So that's Brenda Frank, Donna Gobet, Angela Kenning, and Barb Heinrichs. So kind of a dark horse team that really came out of nowhere. Team I was not expecting to finish as high as they did, but obviously played very well all week. So congratulations to them to get a silver medal. It's, I think, a couple of theirs first nationals. And then third place was Team Nova Scotia. So Tammy Foster, Vino, Jackie Foster, Lorraine Bezanson, and Anne-Marie Seitman. So congratulations to them from Nova Scotia. I know it's kind of a nice little, I guess Anne-Marie sort of jumped into that team that won gold last year. So that was good to see that they were able to get another medal as well. What were your thoughts, Daryl?
Good matches again. I mean, I can never count your mom out, Harriet. She's always going to be in the mix. But I actually agree with what you said. The Manitoba team flew completely under my radar when I was watching. But again, don't always know what's going on in Manitoba, so they can kind of sneak that in a little bit. And then, I mean, seeing Nova Scotia in the mix, I anticipated they would be in the medals in some way. They're very consistent, and they showed that they can play class bowls last year, winning gold. So to see them win bronze, good to see them still in the mix.
Yeah. I guess we can move on to the men's now. So for the men's pairs, there was David Anderson and Jeff Harding ended up winning the men's pairs. That game went down literally to the last end. It was an absolute battle, and they ended up taking on Steve Ogden and Steve Bezanson from Nova Scotia. So Augie and Bees once again played spectacular and got themselves to a gold medal match, which literally was down to the last end, the last bowl. So it was a good showing by them. And third place was Team Alberta, so Jesse Wilkinson and Dwayne Hauk. So again, another sort of team that we'd not really seen traditionally in the past, or a newer team, ended up doing pretty good and getting themselves a bronze medal. Any thoughts about the men's pairs results there, Daryl?
Tough field. Dave and Jeff, they played really, really well in the Ontario finals, so I figured they would go out and play some good bowls. Jeff is looking really good. He was he underwent some surgery to fix some problems that he had with I think it was his hip, if I remember correctly. But he's looking like a new man out there. So really good to see him and Dave take it down. And Steve, I mean, like you said, way back when Al left him off the list of his rankings, they deserve to be on any rankings that you've got right now because they just keep winning and they keep putting themselves in positions to win. So not surprised to see them there. And then Jesse and Dwayne, I mean, a bit of a surprise. They're good bowlers, but first, I think that it's their first time playing together at a national, and good results into the bronze. So kudos to them for a really good showing.
Yep, definitely maybe a team to watch out for in the future there. So men's fours. Again, another family getting it done. It was a good week for my family. So my brother John Patulli ended up winning the fours with Carter Watson, Brandon Watson, and Murray Patulli. So my dad. So I always love seeing the family doing well, and particularly I love seeing my dad getting another Canadian championship because never know how many years he's got left of competitive bowling. So it's good that they were able to make that work for them. In the finals, they ended up playing Team Alberta. So Pat Bird, Mike O'Reilly, Francis Standen, and John McDonald. Obviously, the class of the field the last 2 years have tried to almost defended their fours title. Pat almost, two back-to-back golds. Came within literally the last end on this one of getting it done in both events. So incredibly impressive performance by them to get their way to the finals again and essentially have it come down to a last end. So terrific bowls by both teams that ended up making the finals there. And then in third was Team Ontario. So that's Bill McCollum, Gary Pickering, Pierre Vanderhoot, and Mike Spadafora. So I guess one of the teams that I sort of in the prediction show had predicted to do fairly well because it's essentially 2/4 of the team that ended up beating me in Saskatchewan however many years ago. And I know Pierre and Bill are both very aspiring or developing players out of Ontario there. So not terribly surprising. But what were your thoughts about the men's fours?
I mean, the fact that you could see any of these players getting there shows how good this fours was. And I think we even talked about this as the names were starting to come through, that this fours is really stacking up to be a really good field. Pat, if you don't have Pat as one of the top players in Canada, period, I don't know what you're smoking. He is just showing year after year that he can do it in the fours, he can do it in the singles. I don't think there's anybody that works probably as hard as him on every aspect, including like delivery and whatnot. He's always got some tweaks and changes, and they keep working for him. So really, really good showing from him. Not surprised to see Alberta back in there. They're a solid team. I don't know about this picture. Bill looks like he's sliding into second, and your brother looks like he's starting to do his Gollum kind of phase from Lord of the Rings. My precious with that trophy. But Really, I mean, that picture says it all. There's some high caliber players in that picture.
Yeah, definitely. There's very high end players all around that field. If you said, as you said, I think that was kind of the top field of the entire event, where pretty much any team had a shot to win it, and there was a lot of teams that were in contention for medals, even until the last couple of rounds there. So
Yeah.
good show. So that was what we had for the major nationals. As I sort of alluded to earlier, we are going to have a show this week where it's going to be Al and I recapping our predictions from nationals and essentially making fun of each other for a good 20-30 minutes. So if you want to see some hilarity and talking about how bad or good our picks were, check that out. It'll be out later this week here. So might as well move on to some other Canadian championships, because believe it or not, all of the Canadian championships have now been played except for the indoor, which obviously is not played at this early in the year, but we do have other results to pass along as well. So you want to start with, I guess, the next one, mixed pairs?
Mixed pairs? All right.
So mixed pairs was played out at the Wanderers Lawn Bowling Club in Nova Scotia. They had a bit of some interesting circumstances around the event. So they had some questionable weather where they had to start postponing rounds, and then hurricane, I think it was Lee, you said, blew in. So they literally had a hurricane coming in. So then they sort of changed the format of the events, made the games shorter, and sort of tried to get it all done within a day so that they could kind of avoid the issues of a hurricane, which obviously is a pretty big issue. So if I just jump into the results, the winners ended up being defending champions. So Michelle Leroux and Songsin Tao ended up repeating. So they ended up defending their mixed pairs championship. Ontario B, Mike Bester and Barb Eaton ended up getting second. And then third place was Team BC, Gonzo Wong and Zoe Chan. So congratulations to the medalists there. Obviously, Michelle and Songsin are a pretty solid pair if they are able to make it two straight. And then kind of when I looked at the players who were in the field, Mike Bester is a very good bowler himself. So not terribly surprised to see that he ended up getting his way into the final there. Any thoughts about the mixed pairs, Daryl?
It's a shame that they had to run into all that weather, but it's a cool event. I'm really sad to see it go because I enjoy it so much. But this will be basically the last running of it in its current form. But I'm hoping, and I'm really hoping, that a club, a province, or something will look to pick something like that up and make a big mixed pairs event. Not necessarily to be the national title, but to be just a giant fun event, because I think it's fun. I think everybody should at least try it once. And give it a shot. I had a ton of fun when I played in the mix, even though I didn't win anything. Boo. But I mean, Michelle Leroux and Songsun Tsao are, top tier players. Really, really good. So not surprised to see them repeat. And I heard John Seidman in the chat. I heard he did an excellent job emceeing. So kudos to John. Hopefully everything went well. It seems like from what John said, they had a lot of fun. So cool.
Awesome. I guess we can move on to the final event that I guess just wrapped up last week, the senior triples. So I guess you're showing the podium from a distance there. It looks like that's the men's.
Sorry about the pictures. The ones I tried to find on the seniors were pretty bad, but these are the best of the group of winners.
So the winners were Ontario A, Rick Wood, Murray Bennywise, and David Johnson. Second place was Team Saskatchewan, Doug Normand, David Kalem, and Al Hastings. And third place was Alberta B, Tony Spencer, Ed Gallagher, and Richard Turner. So good results there. Again, that Ontario team, the two Ontario teams looked like they were pretty good teams to me before the tournament. And then that Saskatchewan team, I've bowled against them lots before, and I know they're pretty solid players. So not terribly surprised that they ended up doing pretty good. Ladies, I guess we have a ladies podium. Yep, perfect. So the ladies triples, Catherine's or the winners were Ontario A. So Catherine Smith, Val McWilliams, and Pat Kostecki. And the second place was BCA, Mary Mulligan, Heather Devine, and Kathleen Hewitt. And then third place was Alberta A, June Lee, Donna Rawson, and Shannon Ross Watson. So congratulations to all those medalists from the triples. I had heard that the greens were running very good in Edmonton, not which is to be expected. Commonwealth is an absolutely gorgeous club, so not surprised to hear good reviews from that event. What were your thoughts, Daryl?
Pretty much the same. I saw Rick play a couple of times just before he took off to go to the seniors, and he was playing really, really well. So I guess he carried that right in. Murray's steady. He's been to the Canadians. He plays usually with Derek Mackay and Everett Zwires and Lyle Mix as a foursome, and they do generally really well. So yeah, solid teams. Really cool event again. That one's going away, so hopefully someone takes up the same thing as the mixed. Instead of a mixed, make a masters and take advantage of all the seniors that want to play something a little bit bigger and a little bit better.
Yep, well said. Can't agree anymore. It'd be awesome to see if those events can kind of continue in some capacities. Sort of, I think we covered it about the juniors sort of getting a continuation where Alberta or a club is stepping up to sort of try and keep that event or that sort of spirit alive. So it'd be interesting to see if someone else has the same type of an idea or concept in mind to maybe keep the mixed pairs or seniors or combination. I don't know what you want to call it, till alive in some capacity. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's the Canadian Championship results. We've been yabbering on here for what feels like forever, but that's just the Canadian Championships that we've covered. And believe it or not, there was a lot of other bowls going on over the last month or so. So, do we want to jump right into Worlds now, Daryl?
Yeah, let's do that. So, a ton of exciting results. If you didn't watch it, there's stuff on Facebook and YouTube from World Bowls. Hopefully, you can find it. Some of it was geo-blocked and some of it was hidden, let's say. But if you can find some of it, go and watch it. Any of the games, especially the Canadian ones, really, really cool to see Canadians playing on such good greens against such quality players. The games were awesome to watch. So that's just my off-the-top remarks. But we can jump into the results. There's a lot of results, so I'll try to run through these as fast as possible. So, to kick things off, we have the VI mixed. So, para visually impaired mixed pairs. Gold was Australia, Jake Felberg and Jackie Hudson. South Africa had bronze as Hermanus Schultz and Mary Homer. Scotland and England split bronze, Robert Barr and Melanie Innes. And Stephen Hartley from England and Alison Yearling from England. This is a picture of the women's para pairs. The gold medalists, New Zealand, Terry Blackburn and Julie O'Connell. They played a fantastic match that was streamed. I got to watch. And they played a fantastic match against Scotland. Pauline Wilson and Rosemary Linton taking silver. And we had Thailand, and excuse me for, hopefully I don't butcher any of these names, but Buali Kuntong and Sumwang Chamnen Pants. And Australia split the bronze, Cheryl Linfield and Serena Bonnell. And we had the men's para. And Mike, I think we had chatted about this, but that men's para final was awesome to watch. Just absolutely a cracking event. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. If you want to go back and watch just how much it means to people and how important it is to the players in the event, that final is terrific to watch because both South Africa and Australia make terrific shots. It's back and forth. and it's a great game to watch if you want to give that one a good look.
Can't agree more. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed every minute of it. So the para gold went to Australia, Damien Delgado and James Reynolds. South Africa got the silver. Dion Vander Viver, I think it's, and Gareth Rees Gibbs. Singapore and Hong Kong, China split the bronze. Maujit Singh So Gurmeet Singh and Kerman bin Mohammed for Singapore and Hong Kong, China. Puk Chi Young and Wong Kin Kwong. And we move on to ladies singles. And if you didn't know, the final was another one to watch because we had one of our own in there. So as you can see from the podium, gold went to Tyler Bruce from New Zealand. Silver went to our very own Kelly McCarahan from Canada. Bronze was split between Catherine Rednall from England and Ellen Ryan from Australia. I mean, if I was going to name 4 top singles players in the world, I think those 4 are easily in the top 4 or 5. There's Kelly with her silver medal. She was literally a couple shots away from gold, so really, really good game to watch.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular to see a Canadian in that final. Especially Kelly has worked so hard and came close many times, or not many times, but a few times over the last decade or so. So it was good to see her get another crack, and she played well in the final. Just obviously came up a little bit short. So, but congrats to her. Silver medals, nothing to really be too upset about. And then as you're saying, that field is a very good field, pretty much the top of the top for the ladies singles. So a very good result from Kelly. I was spectacularly happy to see that she made it there, and it was great to watch her actually play the last couple of games.
And Derek Dillon in the chat saying the greens were upwards of 20 seconds at Helensville that day. So if you enjoy playing on your 10-second greens, just imagine playing on 20. Yeah, kudos to Kelly. Unfortunately, there weren't any real women's pairs picks. I was able to grab this one of the winners. So I'll just run them through. Malaysia won gold. Alina Nawari and Ain Nabila Tarmizi. Malta was silver. Connie Rickson and Rebecca Rickson. England and Scotland split bronze. Amy Farrow and Sophie Tolchard from England and Scotland. Emma McIntyre and Claire Anderson.
So that game was also a cool one to watch. If you want to watch that pairs final between Malta and Malaysia, it's pretty spectacular the last little while, and then Malaysia winning their sort of celebration. It's pretty kind of emotional to watch some people win sometimes. That one was cool just because it's essentially two newer members to that squad getting the big win for them. So it's a good one to go back and watch. It's a pretty good game between them and Malta.
Well said. Ladies trips, another really cool result. We have Australia gold, Kelsey Cottrell, Dawn Heyman, and Lindsay Clark. New Zealand silver, we have Val Smith, Tyler Bruce, and Leanne Polson. And then Ireland and Canada split bronze. So Ireland was Sophie McIntyre, Shauna O'Neill, and Chloe Wilson. And from Canada, Joanna Cooper, Bailey Van Stein, and Emma Boyd. Unbelievable run by those 3 ladies from Canada. Emma and Bailey making their first run on the team, getting their first World Bowls event, and coming out with a bronze, and really having a shot at something more is fantastic.
Yeah, they played great. The couple little bits of streams you can get from the different spots, you can see that the results are obviously there and that they're playing pretty well, because they also did pretty decently in the fours too. So obviously they kind of put it together during the event there. It was also good to see Lindsay Clark, sort of the swan song friend of the show, we'll say.
Yep.
Was had a nice interview with her, and to have her swan song and get the gold medal was obviously a big thing for her. So that was kind of a nice part to see with here with them winning gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. From our ladies triples, and we'll get more into it in the fours, but it looked like they got along really well, and it looked like they were having fun. And I think that translated to their gameplay. It was really, really fun to watch them play. And sometimes you got the sliver of them on either side of the televised match, but it was really nice to see all those ladies out there competing. It looks like they had a really good time and did a really fantastic job. And there they are. Joanna, Emma, and Bailey. And women's fours. So, big win for England. Gold, Amy Farrow, Lorraine Cooler, Jamie Lee Marshall, and Sophie Tolchert. Australia came in with the silver. Christina Christic, Dawn Heyman, Lindsay Clark, and Kelsey Cottrell. New Zealand and Scotland split the bronze. New Zealand was Caitlin Inch, Val Smith, Selena Goddard, and Liam Poulsen. And Scotland was Carla Banks, Claire Anderson, Stacey McDougall, and Caroline Brown. Again, I mean, I don't think we can say much more than if you got a chance to see these games, you should watch these games, because this World Bowls, I will say, had some really, really exciting things to watch. I was really entertained the whole time through.
Yeah, that final is a good one. I watched that one live and quite enjoyed. England was incredibly passionate during that match, and obviously the Aussies care very much about winning, especially on their home soil. So that's one of my top ones to go rewatch, because it's a very, very close match, that one too. Pretty back and forth to pretty much the last couple ends there.
And we'll start off with the big one. The big one. Can't stress it enough. Men's singles. Gold. A historic gold for Ryan Besser of Canada. He won over Gary Kelly from Ireland, who got the silver, and the bronze was split between Aaron Wilson of Australia and Ian McLean of Scotland. We have... I'll show a clip after we run through this. I have a clip of some of his shots. If you didn't watch that game, I don't know what you were thinking, because what a back and forth, and just even watching it on stream, I got emotional watching that final. It was fantastic. What did you think, Mike?
Pretty much the exact same statement. I was at a party with my friends, and I had my phone on watching the game, so that shows where my priorities lied in that one. But really, I think the nickname he's had for years, the Master Blaster, was really on play. Or you watch that game, it's actually incredible how on he was with his drive. He makes just incredible shots all game, and then the touch to throw a drive and then draw Jack cold essentially right after it. He played terrific, and all the best to Ryan. That was fantastic. He earned it. It was great to watch.
Yeah, I mean, for one of the top singles players in the world for a long time, and I mean a long time, he's been up there, and he's been in so many gold medal matches. To see him get over that hump, I think anybody that's watched him, anybody that's been friends with him, teammates, myself as part of the coaching staff, it's just that sigh of relief, that giant, oh my god, he got the gold, and I was so excited. I could barely contain myself, just sitting in the office here watching it. But I had to. I've got a kid sleeping in the other room, so
yeah, it's not very often that it seems a Canadian wins a world championship in bowls. I think this is the second one we've ever gotten. Ryan was involved in the other one, so we obviously have to have a very good time with it. So congrats to Ryan. He, as you said, it was a long time coming. He's been very close many times, and to finally get it was all the best for him.
We will go to men's pairs. Again, Gary Kelly having a phenomenal event. at World Bowls. Men's pairs: Ireland gold, Gary Kelly and Adam McKeown. Silver, Aaron Wilson and Aaron T. There's a lot of Aarons, if we haven't said it before, on Team Australia. It seems to be a popular Bulls name. Bronze, Malaysia, is that Shamir and Koskeffel Sophie Roosli. Oh, I probably really butchered that. And Ryan picked up his second medal, and John Bazier as his partner split the bronze with Malaysia. John Bazier, Ryan Bester from Canada, another medal for us. It was fantastic. So more great games to watch. If you weren't watching Gary Kelly bowl in some of his matches, you were missing something, because he was on fire almost the whole event. It was crazy.
Yeah, and you can also see the results. His partner moving to Australia, playing there year round. Obviously, that kind of paid off for them too. So the two of them full-time players in Australia at this point. So obviously shows with you have that familiarity on the greens and you play there full-time. It does work out, and you are able to kind of push yourself up that ladder and get the results you want.
Absolutely. And yeah, I can't say enough about his partner Adam. He's shown some really, really good bowls in all the events that he played. So hats off to him as well. Men's trips. Where did I make that note? Men's triples. We have Australia gold, Aaron Sheriff, Corey Whitlock, and Carl Healy. Scotland, Alex Marshall, Paul Foster, and Derek Oliver. And England and Ireland split bronze. England, Lewis Rideout, Nick Brett, and Jamie Walker. And Ireland, Stuart Bennett, Ian McClure, and Martin McHugh. I mean, some of the top as far as Bulls names. If you don't know who most of these guys are, I don't know what Bulls you've been watching internationally, but the who's who of international Bulls, whether it's indoor, outdoor, or any surface. So just a really class field of competitors. And I believe I couldn't find a men's fours. I think they gave up.
Wasn't that the next photo you just flipped to?
No, that was the para going back to the start. So
Okay.
I think it was the men's fours that I couldn't find a picture for, which was strange because they had pictures of everybody else on there. So men's fours, Aaron Tays, Carl Healy, Corey Whitlock, and Aaron Sheriff from Australia, taking out Scotland, Alex Marshall, Paul Foster, Derek Oliver, and Jason Banks. And then Ireland and New Zealand taking the bronze. Ireland, Stuart Bennett, Adam McEwen, Ian McClure, and Marty McHugh. And New Zealand, Tony Grantham, Chris Lelivre, Lance Pascoe, and Sheldon Baggery Howley. I don't know if you felt the same way, but that final fours match was fantastic.
Yeah, worth a watch. 1,000,000%. If you're wanting to watch a great game, that final fours match is it. The back and forth, literally down to the last bowl. Literally down to the last bowl. It's a fantastic match, and you do see why Alex Marshall is often referred to as the GOAT, but then I think you got a new Billy Goat kind of running his way up there in Aaron Sheriff, where I think we've mentioned his name many, many times over the last year. He's really had the year of all years for lawn bowlers, probably almost all time. If you look back to win an indoor world championship, outdoor singles, pretty much everything he's ended up winning. I think there was actually a post by either Bulls in Australia or somewhere that illustrated everything that he's won this year, and it's absolutely incredible. So to win two more is absolutely spectacular. So congratulations to all the medalists. As you said, very much enjoyed watching all these games. It's great that the streaming is able to happen from the other side of the world, and just to see the top class players duking it out is always great.
I was really impressed that they had two streams going. So they had their Bulls Australia main feed on YouTube and Facebook, and then they had Tweed Heads, I think, help them out with doing another event. So it was cool to be able to switch and have a little choice, which was really, really nice. I did see a lot of complaints that, oh, why is Australia always on? Well, it's Bulls Australia streaming it. So, take it or leave it kind of thing. World Bulls give them the rights, and they're going to put on Australia as much as possible. But you got to see a lot of other teams, and it was really cool. You got to see some Canadian content, which we don't typically get to see unless they make it into the medal matches. So fantastic. Fantastic streaming, fantastic commentary. I'm going to give a shout out to friend of the show, Barry Lester. I think he did a phenomenal job on the commentary. I was really impressed with all the commentary, to be frank.
Yeah, just his insights and things that he would bring up about the surface and even how the greens was changing during the day. Just he had great insights that actually were incredibly nice to like listen to, especially if you're someone who's maybe not as familiar with how a green works in Australia and how it changes during the day depending on the sun and everything like that. He did a great job. I can't agree. I can't say anything more. He was spectacular as a commentator. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, John Simon correcting me on it was the Gold Coast Tweed District Media Team. That's a long name. Did the second stream for them. They brought them in so they could have as wide of a showing as possible. Ended up with most countries featured at least once, which is cool. It's really, really cool to see. I mean, not only was World Bulls the biggest it's ever been with as many countries as there were, but to get to see some of them play was also fantastic. So one of my best streaming experiences watching, being really invested in the games and seeing some really, really close and cool endings to games. So hats off to the whole production crew. It was fantastic.
So that was World Bulls. So again, feel like we've been talking forever, but that's World Bulls. And believe it or not, there's more stuff that we want to cover. So directly after World Bulls, there was the Champion of Champion tournament. So if you're not familiar with that means, if you win your singles championship within your country, you get to go to the Champion of Champions tournament. So that was directly after, and we had more Canadian content in that. So Jordan Koss from Canada was there, and Pat Bird was there. So they both ended up playing pretty well. I'll flip it to you if you want to cover those results.
Yes. So the final four in the men's champs, gold medal went to Danny Salmon from Wales. He's racking up the gold medals left and right. Silver went to Darren Gualtieri. I hope I pronounced that right. Bronze was split between Izzard Shamir of Malaysia and Ed Morris of England. Again, quality names up there. Danny and Ed, I know, playing in England and Wales, are some top tier singles players. And I know Izzy from Malaysia is fantastic as well. He's in the mix usually in a little bit of everything. I didn't know the guy from Scotland, but obviously if he's coming out of Scotland as a singles player, he's going to be pretty good. So really, really cool.
I guess if we're not gonna forget about him, Derek's already all over us in the chat that we're not giving our Canadian people enough love apparently. But Pat lost out in the quarterfinals. Pat Bird, he played really well, won his section, and then lost in the quarterfinals. So tough break for him, but he played very well. Probably something we could talk about after we get the ladies' results is the format's a little goofy, but we'll talk about that. So congrats to Pat, and we're not going to forget about him, Derek. Don't worry.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And we're not going to forget about Jordan. So what happened in the ladies, Daryl?
Well, history was made. Fantastic ending. Obviously, these four ladies are fantastic players. Ann Nunes from USA wins gold. Unbelievable. Silver goes to Lucy Beer from Guernsey, and bronze was split by Malaysia and Singapore. Malaysia, Noral Aliani Jamil, and Singapore, Philomena Go Kui Ki. I mean, we'll just throw up this picture. I think it says it all. Anne played fantastic in this format, and if, in my opinion, and I'll pass it over to you, Mike, as well, but in my opinion, if you didn't think she was, the top lady in US, one of the all-time legends already, I think this just cemented that as far as Bulls USA is concerned. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, definitely agree. I watched the entire string from quarterfinals to finals for her because Charlie, the male rep for USA in that event, was streaming from his phone or live casting, whatever we want to call it. So I watched the games and she played great all through the last 3 rounds, and she's honestly been their most consistent performer at international stage for roughly even a decade here. So not terribly surprising. She finally got a result, but absolutely congratulations, because first world champion for the ladies side. I don't know men's side off the top of my head, but ladies side for the USA. So that's a huge result for them, a huge result for her, because it's obviously nice to finally get one after you've been there and had a good kick at the can a couple times. If I'm giving Jordan her shine so that Derek doesn't come after me some more, Jordan played Anne in the quarterfinals, and they had an absolutely great match. Went down to the last set, last end even, and really it was one or two lucky breaks in that final set makes a big difference for who ends up winning, because that's something we could briefly chat about if you'd like. The first time I've seen 5 end sets. So they were playing 3 5 end sets essentially to determine who would win. It was interesting to say the least. What were your thoughts about the change in format to the 5 end sets, Daryl?
It's interesting. I mean, I think I've said it a number of times before, but I'm not a huge fan of sets. I don't like playing them particularly. I play them and everything's fine, but my preference is not sets. That aside, 5 end sets really, really messes with any game plan I've seen in the past. Really, those first 2 ends, whatever happens, you're on top, you're behind, you're on top big, you're behind big, or it's a really close game. Those 2 ends dictate the next 3 and what you're going to do. You have no time to breathe. It's go go go. You screw up an end, it's going to kill you. So it's definitely I think what Neil said on our interview, more consequences more often, and I think this showed you that there was a ton of consequences more often in this game, and it's a tough format from what I saw. I mean, I don't know how those players were managing through it, and particularly Pat and Jordan, how they drew up their game plan on how they were going to manage 3 5 end sets. But right now, I always try to wrap my head around it, and I'm having a tough time doing that, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it was a very volatile game to watch. Like, as a fan, sort of you're saying more consequences more often. It 100% has consequences more often. So I would say I'm not a huge fan of it at this point, just watching a singles version of it. So we'll see. It kind of seems to be the trending formats, World Bulls and a couple different things with their Premier League that they're looking at doing. And obviously Canada with our changes next year. So we'll see how it is. It's definitely different, but it was still nice to see the games. And Derek sort of touched on it in the chat. Looked like it was a fantastic surface, but challenging conditions too with the wind.
It looked windy.
You could see that a wind gust would hugely affect how a bull would move on one side and vice versa. So
Derek in the chat here saying a lot more coach involvement. Players went to their coach a lot for strategy and shot selection depending on the score. I'm not surprised. I mean, it's the first time they've been in that situation. So I mean, you have to kind of go on the fly. I mean, what kind of experience do you have to set up a game plan to say, I've been here before, I know what to expect? You're kind of making some educated guesses, but in the heat of the moment, it can get away from you, and it can get away from you fast. 5 ends. One end here or there can cost you the set. So, and Derek, I had to use a lot of extra hair gel. I'm sure you did. That wind was ripping through there. You could see it affect the bowls, and glad it stayed firm.
Okay, so that was the champion of champions. And believe it or not, that's not all we have for you today. So I don't know why we waited this long for a show, Daryl.
Oh man,
Feels like I've been
this is ridiculous. So next time we won't.
So I think the next one we wanted to cover was Canada at our PBA qualifiers.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes. I do have my PBA notes here, I think. So, PBA, Woodstock Lawn Bowling Club, fantastic club here in Ontario. We have Dylan Jacobs in the beer shirt. Fantastic advertisement for the bar of any club. This is when he took down the Scottish singles, I believe, the Scottish Open, which he will be starting up fairly soon. I think they threw out the draw, and he gets Jason Banks right off the rip. So that's going to be a tough one. If you've seen any of our highlight packages in previous discussions, Jason Banks has been in there because he has had some decent results. Again, Dylan, he also won the World Open singles, so he'll be going to Potters to play, which is fantastic. So Dylan having a great singles event, and the World Open pairs, which is also in Potters, was won by Jake Masterson and Rick Lyons. So I've talked to both of them. They are super excited to go. Really, really cool. They're both going to get their first experience. Dylan has been there before, but these guys are getting their first experience at the blue carpet. So great results for those guys.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see how they end up going. We like covering the PBA and stuff during the and WBT during the winter months. So I'm excited to see how those guys end up faring there. It's always nice to see different faces getting a shot, and I love Dylan. I'm excited to see that Dylan's getting a couple rips and singles to really get the two opportunities. I'm sure he'll be competitive or bringing up his standard of play on the blue carpet with those two events that he's going to be playing in.
Really cool to see Dylan back. I got to see him at WOBA, and I've seen him previous years playing a little bit more, and he seems to be getting his rhythm back. He was a phenomenal player when I played with him when we were both young and I didn't have white hair. So good to see him back and at it, and hopefully this just keeps that bowl rolling for him, and he does really, really well. Wanted to just quickly jump back to one of Derek's comments. Did want to mention it, and I think it's worth mentioning. World Bowls, the best ever result for Canada, and I think between our conversations, Mike, we had mentioned that between the two of us, so this is fantastic. Canada fourth on the medal table out of 44 countries. So just fantastic to see. And I know the men's triples and the fours had a chance as well, and they were close in some respects. So really, really cool to see Canada making that step up at World Bowls.
Yep, well said. Moving along, there's other events that happened. So the Phoenix Bowls Championship, we did our streaming. Daryl did run into some technical problems, but he was able to get some streaming in of that event. I believe that was last weekend, right?
Yes.
So how'd that end up?
Port Credit Lawn Bowling Club. The two guys that we had just mentioned previously from PBA, Dylan Jacobs and Rick Lyons, taking it down. So they got a little extra pocket cash for heading over to England. It's a really cool event. It was smaller this year. They didn't do the full-blown 2 events and everything, but I'm hoping that Rob Galpo and his team, and hopefully we can help in some way, make this a bigger event and get a few more events since we have some openings next year. I think it's worth expanding and worth giving a shot. It's a fun day, for sure. I really enjoyed it despite all my technical difficulties trying to stream.
Yeah, I played in it last year. Last year when I was down there, I very much enjoyed the format. It's something new, something fun to play. So if you ever do get a shot, an opportunity, I would highly recommend it. It's cool to test out and play the different formats that they are playing in those events that we do see stream from Australia. So
Yes, yeah.
is that it?
No.
It can't be it. I think we still have more.
Okay. Wanted to give a shout out to the newly announced squad. Bulls Canada announced the youth and para bull squads. So we kind of gave the youth results previously, but we'll give a quick shout out to those that made the youth and para bull squad. So in para bowls, we have Louise McLean from Kitchener, Ontario, in the B2 classification for visually impaired bowlers. There's Louise with her coach Leanne Franklin, who's also from Kitchener, Ontario. They're both actually out of my club, so really cool to see. I was actually watching them play a mixed pairs game the other day, and Louise was on fire. She is a fantastic bowler, and I wish her all the best. She'll be representing us in South Africa. Friend of the show, I've seen him pop in here every once in a while, chat with him a few times, and excellent bowler in his own right. Andy Caldwell in the B7 classification for para bowlers from St. Thomas, Ontario. Gold medalist at the para bowls, and he will be, I believe, going to South Africa as well. And from Alberta, Jack Smart in the B6 classification from Calgary, Alberta. Just a fantastic event, and I hope it grows from here. I think there's some really quality bowlers, and I hope that they can just keep growing that event. And good luck to the team. All the best in South Africa. And we have the newly minted youth squad. We have on the right Lucy Ewan from Qualicum Beach, BC, and on the left Amy Spence from Stratford, PEI. And we have Gwyneth Chang from Richmond, BC, and Kira Shiloh from Edmonton, Alberta. And on the men's side, we have Ozzy Chambers from Sanicton, BC. Eric Gallipo from Toronto, Ontario. And we have Logan Saunderson from Sydney, BC, and Lauren Wong from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So congratulations to all of them.
Yes, always good to see people getting their designations are added to squads, because it does help out sort of the funding side of things for athletes from province to province. So great to see they're all kind of getting their dues and getting their names recognized for the results that they did put up over the last little while.
One more thing. I wanted to give a shout out. We always ask you guys to send in tournaments, events, cool stuff that's going on in your clubs. And we don't usually hear stuff. We have to go and dig it and try to find stuff. But I want to give a shout out to James Rimmer from Ontario, and he's part of the OLBA board, sending in this cool event from his club. And what this is, it's called the Flip Flop LGBT Plus Tournament. It was on Saturday, September the 9th, I believe. 30 teams played at Cosburn Park Lawn Bowling Club. And it was played in the annual Flip Flop Tournament, North America's largest LGBTQ plus bowling event. While the weather was not too hot for the bowlers sure will. Bowlers from across Ontario had a blast with lots of tight ends. More info about the organizers, www.torontorain, RAIN bowlers, BOWLERS.ca. The link is in the description below. First place, 3 games won. Total points 43, prizes $200. Players were Herb Alfro and Jason Cristaldi, I believe. So, fantastic event, showing, really bringing inclusivity to the sport, allowing for other groups to enjoy our sport as well that sometimes don't get that chance. And it was really fantastic to see. There's James Rimmer right there. So thank you for sending this through. It looks like it was a really fun event, and really something that more clubs should actually think about. Not just necessarily LGBTQ plus groups, but other groups that are out there that may enjoy the sport, and you can bring them in and have an event like that for them, give them the greens, and make it really, really fun.
Yeah, leagues or events like this are something that's easily attainable by a club if you're willing to sort of put in that little bit of effort. And I believe Calgary has a Pride League that they've ran for years, and Regina here our Pride group came out and started to run a little bit of a league here as well. So definitely a market that is attainable, and then also increases, as you said, the inclusivity of the sport. So definitely good to see that a successful event like that occurred.
Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, is that all we got, Daryl?
Yep. Once you sign off, we've got a quick little video clip before the official outro goes. But other than that, we're good. That was a great show, Mike. Lots of information, but we made it through.
Yes, we did. My voice hurts, and I'm glad that we're done and I don't have to talk anymore. So
Exactly.
I'll do my normal. With that, may all your bowls be touchers. Have a good one.
Ryan Bester now looking to capitalise on the one shot that he holds right now. A scoreline of 13 all if he can hold to. Look at that. Yeah, and really just restricts Ryan now back to the draw. He's going big.
Well, I think he's got the 2 back ones, so if he does get the jack.
Oh, yes. On the end of your trail to your own, or...
Yeah, you can't cover 2s everywhere.
This is big from Ryan Bester. This is big. He's got the jack and the back ball. Right now it'll do. And Gary Kelly come up with the match saver. It's turning. How much is this going to hang on? I think this is gone. And that is it. Ryan Bester.
That was his destiny.